Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to be showing off a bunch of really useful ways to reduce your input delay in Fortnite Chapter 3. Now, I originally did not plan on making this video since I kind of made 2 FPS Boost guides already, but after finding out what I'm about to show you guys, I knew I had to make this ASAP. Not only have the tips and tricks I'll cover completely changed the way my game feels, in a good way of course, but I really have not seen anyone else on YouTube talk about them. In fact, I didn't even know about them until recently, and they straight up blew my mind. So make sure to drop a like down below if you enjoy. Also let me know how good your game runs after. But without further ado, let's get right on into it. Alright, so to start off, we're going to be looking at your in-game Fortnite settings, and I know I've shown these this season already, but as I just found out, you're probably using the wrong ones. What I'm talking about is the fact that the best settings I have shown for performance mode actually have some hidden settings that affect them. This was pointed out to me by a guy named Slyjack. He makes some really good and short tutorial videos, shout out to him, but he basically confirmed my theory that even while you're on performance mode, the settings you have in DX11 or DX12 actually affect your game and your input delay while you're on performance mode. As you can currently see, I am on performance mode. This is what the grass looks like. But if you notice in the top left where the input delay counter is, yes, it's broken. For some reason, it's stuck at 0 milliseconds. However, if you notice on the U and the B, both of them say on, and the M says 240 Hertz, what that actually refers to is inside your settings. Obviously, the first one is your refresh rate, but the latter two are your advanced graphics, which just are not here. I wonder where they are. Bang! I'm magically on DX11. Proof is in the grass, but to prove it even more, if I go to the settings, look, I have all these advanced options that were not on performance mode. Now, the point I'm trying to prove is with your input delay, we're not actually looking at the number, we're just seeing the U and the B. I can change that on DX11 by going down to the advanced graphics and changing Nvidia Reflex low latency to off. Boom, I'm gonna apply. Now if you look, the U and the B are both off. So that U and B basically means the U is for Nvidia Reflex low latency, so I can just turn it on and you'll see now the U is on and the B is off. The B stands for boost, so if I want both of them on, I need to put on plus boost. But what I'm trying to prove is that if we go back to performance mode with Nvidia Reflex low latency off, so I'm going to change this from DX11 to performance mode, apply, and then of course we'll have to restart. If that U and B has changed to off and off even on performance mode, that basically means that those settings which are hidden actually affect your input delay on performance mode. But like you don't have them in game. Isn't that weird? Boys and girls, the reveal. Look at the input delay. It says U and B are both off, meaning as Slyjack and I have said, the settings you have on DX11 affect your input delay and your game on performance mode. But you can't actually change them while you're on performance mode. I really don't know why Epic did this. I always had kind of like a sneaking suspicion because the fact that you could see your input delay and leave the latency markers on while you're on performance mode, it just made no sense. But this is actual confirmation, and it kind of makes me think how many players did not know this and how many players are on the wrong settings. If you think about it, being on the wrong settings for DX11 while on performance mode is actually worse than just being on DX11 or DX12 with the right settings. And let me also add in, that is not just for the U and B, which is on plus boost. It basically means all the settings you have on DX11 and on DX12 that you cannot change on performance mode, every single one of them is going to affect your game and your input delay while you're on performance mode. This is crazy, boys. This is game breaking. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to change to DX11. We're going to get all the best settings. I'm going to walk you through them, and then we're going to go back to performance mode because that's still the best rendering option, and that's what I advise you all to play on. Ooh, so let me just restart one more time.
A few minutes later.
With all of that settled, we have returned to my favorite FPS test round. Again, the input delay thing does not work. Starting off with the ones that you cannot see, I believe in graphics quality, all you have the option for in performance mode is view distance. Okay, my head is blocking it, but you only have the option for view distance and textures. Luckily for us, the ones that we cannot see, I recommend everyone to turn off. That means shadows off, effects off, post-processing. None of these actually matter except for textures and view distance, but we can just change those in performance mode. So just turn the other ones off or low, and then in advanced graphics, I believe five settings that we do not get in performance mode that affect the game, and I'm going to tell you which ones are the best. Starting off with allow multi-threaded rendering. If you have more than 4 cores in your CPU, definitely turn this on. And to actually check how many cores your CPU has, you can just minimize or X out of your game, go over to your task manager, go on the top to performance, on the left go to CPU, and then on the right look for your cores. So I have a pretty beefy CPU, it has 10 cores. Yours might say 6, it might say 8, it might say 4 or more. Turn on allow multi-threaded rendering. 3 or less though, probably turn it off. Obviously you could try just enabling it and disabling it, see which one is better for your FPS, but for most people you're gonna want to turn it on. Following that is use GPU crash debugging. This basically makes it so if your game crashes, it sends a report to the developers. But I mean, you can read it. It says enabling this feature comes at a small performance cost. Oh hell no! They can suck my balls, so we're gonna turn it off. Latency markers I have on, but I recommend you all turn it off. What latency markers is when you turn it on and then you go over to your game UI or HUD settings. If you put latency debug stats on as well and apply, that is gonna let you see your in-game latency. Now, part of why I'm saying to turn it off is because it's broken. It literally says 0 and does not work. And on top of that, I mean, it does lower your FPS technically. It's not going to be a huge difference, but obviously we want the best and lowest input delay possible. So turn latency markers off. Wait a second. I swear there was a latency flash option. I think they took that away. Regardless, the important one is Nvidia Reflex low latency. I recommend most people to have this on plus boost. So that is when, if you look in the top left at the input delay, both of them are on. And essentially what that does, I'm gonna get kind of nerdy, is just the on setting that enables Nvidia Reflex. And what Nvidia Reflex is it basically eliminates the GPU render queue. So normally anytime your mouse does something, your CPU will make the frame, it will then queue it up and send it over to the render queue for the GPU to then render it and put it on your monitor screen. Think of you just like shooting your gun. That is the process it takes from you clicking your mouse, so I'm going to click, to me actually seeing it on the screen. What Nvidia Reflex does is it takes out that render queue, meaning the CPU is perfectly in sync with your GPU because of Reflex, and that will take pressure off your CPU. It will make it so the game basically samples your mouse input at like the last possible moment. You're going to get the least amount of input delay, the best and most responsive game, even though if you had this off, you could technically get more frames.
Okay, Jerian, then what does on plus boost do?
I'm glad you asked, little Timmy. What the boost option does is it forces your GPU clocks to run at a much higher speed. This helps a ton in CPU bound scenarios. For example, Fortnite. Fortnite is CPU bound because most of the processing takes place on your CPU, but with on plus boost, which most people don't really use, or I guess not even know about, it takes some of that back pressure off of the CPU, it puts it on the GPU instead, and this makes your game feel so freaking nice, run like butter, with the least amount of input delay. Oh, but yeah, that is basically Nvidia Reflex low latency. Finally, the last option is DLSS. If you guys don't know what this is, they kind of explain it. DLSS is deep learning super sampling. It basically renders the images with less pixels, kind of making it blurrier, and I will show you. There's 4 options at off, performance, balanced, and quality. And if you notice the 3D res, I don't know if you guys can see it, 3D res, it gets locked. So does anti-aliasing because both of them are being changed changed and actually either lowered or turned on. Quality is going to have the highest. I think, what is performance? Yeah, performance, the 3D res is at 50%. It's a lot blurrier. It basically looks how performance mode did at the start of the season. It's going to help input delay a little bit, but I just think it's really not that good. Like, the difference isn't big enough for considering how bad it makes your game look. And I'm not really sure, did Epic even mean to make it a thing for performance mode? They fixed it about a few days ago. Oh. Yeah, I do not like that. I have DLSS off. You could use performance if you really want to get crazy input delay, but it's really not going to make a huge difference. I don't think we missed any other settings. You guys know windowed mode on full screen. That is for the lowest input delay. Frame rate limit, you can put at unlimited. I believe SlideJack advises that, but for competitive, you're going to get crazy frame drops, so just cap it at your monitor's refresh rate. And yeah, that's basically all these settings that affect performance mode, except latency markers. That's supposed to be off. I only have it on for the video. And from here, I would just change back to performance mode. I would restart my game and use performance mode. Next up, we're going to talk about a really useful program called DDU. DDU, or Display Driver Uninstaller, is a tool that pretty much does what it says. It helps you cleanly uninstall your graphics drivers and gets you way better input delay on whichever ones you replace it with. So to kind of explain it, anytime that you upgrade your drivers, you guys know I always advise you to stay on top of them. What actually happens is your new driver gets installed on top of your old one. This is not the worst thing in the world. Like, for the majority of me playing the game, that is what I did. But it actually leads to less optimal performance because you're gonna have extra stuff such as registry keys, files and folders, just random junk all from your old drivers. Therefore, what DDU does is it uninstalls all that stuff from the old driver that you're no longer using. That way you can install whichever driver you want and it will run at its best performance. Oh, and that actually reminds me, on top of helping out your input delay, DDU is extremely useful for helping solve any issues you have with your graphics drivers. For example, I had an issue a few weeks back for when I tried to update my drivers. Anytime I would click out of Fortnite, my entire screen would flicker and go black. That had never happened before. It was an obvious bug, but the thing was, normally uninstalling it through Windows did not help. Well, can you guess what happened? I looked up DDU, I followed a tutorial, which I'm going to show you guys in a second, and I was able to replace the old graphics driver that was driving me nuts and giving me all these issues with literally the same one, but the issue was fixed because of DDU. So yeah, DDU is amazing. This is not a hashtag ad or anything. It is completely free, and all of the PC nerds can vouch for it. I just want you guys to understand what it does before I go and show how it works.
Yeah.
The first thing that you want to do if you're going to use DDU, remember, DDU is for uninstalling your graphics driver, is you're going to want to go to Nvidia.com and actually find your drivers. So if you have AMD, go to the AMD website and find your drivers there. You want to have the driver that you're going to install ready. So for me, I'm going to put in GeForce 30 Series 3090. That is my GPU. I'm going to search it up. And this is the latest game ready driver. It was released February 14th, so about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I'm gonna download it. And now, if you want, you can download older drivers. A lot of the older ones actually work better. A lot of people recommend like version 457.30. You can look it up on Twitter, but the way to get the old ones is on the driver page. You can go down to beta and older drivers, search up the same thing, GeForce, whatever series, product, all that stuff, search it, and you can see, look, all the releases from September 2021 all the way down to March 2021. You could easily find older ones too just by searching up the number in Google, but remember, it is the GeForce game ready drivers. I personally just go with the most up to date because they always work well for me, and what I'm gonna do is just drag it onto my desktop. I have the game ready driver, the download for it right here, waiting because when I uninstall through DDU, that is the new driver we're gonna install. Over to DDU, I'm going to put the website for it down below. You could also just search up DDU and guru3d.com should come up. This is what the page looks like, and if I go down to the bottom, there's all these different versions. Just download the mirror that is closest to you, so mine is the East Coast. I'm going to click and download it. It even tells you a little bit about what it does. It helps you completely uninstall graphics drivers without leaving any leftovers behind. Again, I'm going to drag this, and I'm just going to extract it it, I guess we'll extract here. When you do that, you should get a guru3d.com folder as well as the .exe of DDU. So I'm gonna click on it and extract it again. That's gonna give me another folder, the DDU folder, and inside of it, you could see display driver uninstaller. There's the application itself. What you'll actually notice is when you try to run it, boom, this thing that comes up, this seems to be the first time you launch DDU. It says you should have a backup, which I do recommend you guys do yourselves. Just go and create a system restore point in your PC. So create a restore point, it's really easy. But what it also should say, there we go. It says DDU has detected that you are not in safe mode. This is really important because you want to make sure you are in safe mode. I'm going to show how to do that, but do not do this without being in safe mode. You're going to run into troubles if you do. Oh, hello there. I bet you did not expect to see me in person. The reason I am here is because I don't have a capture card and we have to go into safe mode. As you can see, I am here at my setup, and what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to restart my PC, but I'm going to do it while holding down Shift. I'm going to hold this dirty key down right here, Shift. I'm going to press restart. I do not want to break this camera. Still holding down Shift. This is the screen we get to. Okay, it was zoomed in. It's gonna say choose an option, and I'm gonna hit troubleshoot. Remember, this is to get into safe mode. I'm gonna hit advanced options. From there, startup settings. And as you can see, it's gonna say restart to change window options such as enable safe mode. And that's what we want to do. I'm no longer hitting shift, by the way. This button says restart, so I'm going to hit that. This is the screen you're gonna get after that. Startup settings. Please choose a number, and we want enable safe mode number 4. So that means I'm gonna hit number 4. Boom. Republic of Gamers. I'm a gamer. I'm gonna go back into Windows. Don't worry, it looks weird. Microsoft Windows Build 1904. This is safe mode. It's kind of scary, but not really. All you're gonna want to do is go over to the file that you downloaded or extracted, the DDU file, which has the display driver uninstaller. This camera's so heavy. Sorry for the shakiness. And then now we're finally in DDU without the safe mode thing, because we're in safe mode. All I'm doing here is going to select device type, GPU, Nvidia, you can see. If you're AMD, just pick that, Intel. It even says detected GeForce RTX 3090. And what I'm gonna do is hit the top option, clean and restart. Boom. You're gonna see all this random crap come up over here. This is basically cleaning up the old driver. You can see it uninstalled the old driver, executing this random removing stuff. By the way, if the background is black, that is what is supposed to happen. Now it's restarting. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We are now back in with the DDU being run. It just uninstalled the old driver. Now what you're gonna do to just finish it is obviously install the new driver. That is the one we downloaded before. That's why it's important to have it ready. And you're just gonna click. It's gonna install Nvidia graphics driver. I'll just do the top one anyways. Agree and continue. Express. And now it is installing the graphics driver. Oh my god. Screen's gonna go black. Nice. The second monitor's on. And now, look at that. Oh, I gotta log into Nvidia. Not too shabby, right? It seriously is that simple. I have now installed the new driver, 511.79. And before we get to the actual Nvidia settings, as well as finishing the setup, I want to just quickly show one thing. So if I go back to DDU, obviously I'm not in safe mode. We just came out of it. But something that's important if it does not really work for you, or if you still have the black flickering, is make sure you go to the options. And at the bottom, you want to check prevent downloads of drivers from Windows Update when Windows search for a driver for a device. All it does is it prevents Windows from automatically putting in a driver instead of the one that you want, which is the one we downloaded earlier. So if Windows keeps doing that, if it keeps installing something over it or before it, go to the options and just click this. You're gonna have to do the whole process again of going into safe mode, then clicking, GPU, clean and restart. But it's worth it. It really does not take that long. And after, you can finally go to the Nvidia control panel. It is a whole new driver, or clean driver, not really a new one since I was on this before. But the way we're gonna finish this is with the best Nvidia settings. We're gonna go over to adjust image settings with preview under 3D settings. We're gonna click use the advanced 3D image settings, basically the ones that you want. Click take me there. That is gonna bring you over to manage 3D settings. And then I have to go quickly change this, so don't look at them. Okay, now they are good. These are the ones you want to copy. Basically, everything is either off or on high performance, image scaling off, ambient occlusion off, anisotropic filtering off, anti-aliasing off, anti-aliasing gamma correction. Okay, I had this one. That's supposed to be off as well. Anti-aliasing mode off, background application max frame rate off, CUDA GPUs all, DSR factors off. Low latency mode you can either have on or ultra. I have mine on just because that's worked best for me. Monitor technology, fixed refresh. G-Sync is just not worth it. It will actually increase your input delay, make it worse. Multi-frame sampled AA off. Open GL rendering GPU. Just select whatever you have. Power management mode is really important. Make sure this is on prefer maximum performance. This actually works with the on plus boost in Nvidia Reflex. Preferred refresh rate I have on application controlled because this is 360 Hz, but Fortnite you can't get 360 FPS, so it should not be on the max for me. Shader cache size, driver default. Texture filtering, I have this on because it is an optimization, anisotropic sample optimization. Then texture filtering, the negative LOD bias, allow. Texture filtering quality, put on high performance. Trilinear optimization on. Threaded optimization on. Triple buffering off. VSync. VSync sucks ass. Virtual reality pre-rendered frames 1 and virtual reality. Variable rate super sample, just turn it off. These are the best Nvidia settings. Make sure when you change your graphics driver you do this. That is basically all. Press apply and boom. DDU is not that scary. Overall, boys and girls, those are the best ways to reduce your input delay in Fortnite Chapter 3. So if you guys enjoyed the video or you learned something new, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. If you guys have any problems, just comment them down below. Someone will definitely help you out. I'll even respond to people. Otherwise, that is it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.